right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. This meeting is compliant with the Ralph M. Brown Act as amended by California Assembly number 361, effective September 16th, 2021, providing for a public health emergency exception to the standard teleconference rule required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide a safe environment for the public, staff, and commissioners, while allowing for public participation. The public may address the commission using exclusively remote public comment options. The commission may take action on any item listed in the agenda. The Park and Rec Commission's meeting will be exclusively virtual meeting. Members of the public may view the meeting by logging on to the Zoom webinar listed below or on Comcast Channel 27 and the city's YouTube channel at http youtube.com Brisbane CA. The agenda materials may be viewed online at www.brisbaneca.org/meetings. Join the Zoom webinar. Do I need to read this? Yes. Okay, join the Zoom webinar, www.brisbaneca.org/park-rec-webinar. Meeting ID 920-4174-1911, passcode 123456. To address the commission, members of the public are encouraged to submit written comments before the meeting. Members of the public who join the live Zoom webinar may address the commission in the meeting when called upon by the chairperson. Please use the chat box in Zoom to alert staff that you want to address the commission. Members of the public watching the meeting on the YouTube channel or channel 27 may email or text comments prior to the start of the particular agenda item to the below email and text line. Email jbondoc@brisbaneca.org, text 415-519-9588. A call-in number is also available for those watching the meeting on the YouTube channel or channel 27 for oral communications and public hearing items. Phone number 1-253-215-8782. Meeting ID 920-4174-1911. After entering the meeting ID and pressing pound, simply press pound a second time to enter the meeting waiting room. No participant code is required. Please wait to call until the chairperson and/or staff announces that the phone line is open. When you are led into the meeting, press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself before addressing the commission. To avoid feedback, please turn off the volume of the meeting broadcast on your TV or computer. You will still be able to hear the commissioners through your phone. Special assistance. If you need special assistance to participate in this meeting, please contact the Park and Recs Department, 415-508-2140 in advance of the meeting. Notification in advance of the meeting will enable the city to make reasonable arrangements to ensure accessibility to this meeting. Okay, so call to order.
That was well done, Lisa.
Thank you.
So,
Roll call starts with you, Chairperson Greenlee.
Here.
I'm sorry, is there an echo?
You're getting an echo, yes.
I'm hearing an echo.
Okay. I'll just try to power through. Is there an echo? Commissioner Kern?
Present.
Commissioner Ocampo?
Present.
Commissioner Sewell?
I'm here.
Commissioner Ocampo? Commissioner Sims?
Here. That is like quite a delay in the echo too for you. I'm sorry.
That is like quite a delay.
There you are. Yeah.
Two devices on, Jovi?
No. Lisa was pretty echoey too.
Yeah, we're all echoey.
I think, Jovi, turn your audio off. I mean, yeah, just mute yourself for a second.
Yeah,
Are we still hearing it? I think it's just Jovi's.
no, it's just Jovi.
Yeah.
Joby, maybe you can log off and then log back on.
It might shut off the meeting though.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. He's not going to do too much speaking tonight. So hopefully it's just not too painful on his end. Okay. Moving on. Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, adoption of the agenda. Are there any deletions, additions, or changes?
I have it displayed here.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the.
I'm sorry, I have a couple of items that kind of came up. Hello?
To add to the agenda?
Yeah, I think so. You tell me.
Okay.
One is to nail down the date for the garden show.
We can talk about that under your chairperson report.
Okay, and how about I had some feedback from the community about access to the library garden in the back of the in the back of the old library.
That can go under your chairperson report as well.
Okay, great. Then that's it.
Should I second Natalie's motion?
Yes.
I do that.
Okay. And then
Okay.
Jovi will do a roll call real quick.
Okay.
Okay. We're moving to adopt the agenda. Chairperson Greenlee.
What do I say? Aye.
Yep. Commissioner Kern.
Aye.
Commissioner Ocampo.
Aye.
Commissioner Sewell.
Aye.
Commissioner Sims.
Aye.
Okay, next we will do approval of minutes. May 11th. Everybody read the attachments? Okay. Anyone move to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I second.
And does Jovi do a roll call for that?
I do. We're approving the minutes of our last meeting. Chairperson Greenlee.
Aye.
Commissioner Kern.
Aye.
Commissioner Ocampo.
Aye.
Commissioner Sewell. Commissioner
Aye.
Sims.
Aye.
Okay, I guess that is all done. And now we are doing citizens communications. Are there any citizen communications happening?
None tonight.
Okay, great. Presentations, on to presentations. Club Lippman after school presentation. I understand there's somebody here to do that.
There is. So I'm going to ask Jovi to promote her to panelist. But before we jump into that, I did want to quickly introduce Nicole Houghton. She's our new recreation supervisor for the Park and Rec Department. And she comes to us with a significant amount of experience working previously for the city of Burlingame and in Mill Valley. And she's worked in aquatics and seniors and childcare and teens. And we are very excited to have her on the team. She was out at the park working on Sunday at the concert. So I think a handful of you have met her already, but I wanted to formally introduce her to the commission and to the public. And she's going to speak a little bit later regarding our National Park and Rec Month festivities. So thanks for joining us, Nicole.
Welcome,
And-
Nicole.
Hi,
Welcome.
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. Looking forward to our discussion in a little bit.
Yeah. And with that, I will go ahead and introduce Michelle Chan, who is here to represent the Club Lippman after school program at Lippman. I can't speak highly enough about Michelle, and we're so grateful to have the collaboration and the partnership that we do with the school district. So we ask Michelle to come once a year and present to the commission and share information about how the program is doing, given that the city contributes annually to the program. And so she graciously agreed to attend this evening and give up her night to come and speak to us and share kind of highlights of the program from the past year and what they're looking to do in the coming school year. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Michelle. You should be able to share your screen if you want.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Noreen, that's really kind of you. We definitely value our relationship with the city, so I'm happy to come and spend my evening with you and see a bunch of faces that I'm not so familiar with. And now you can see mine because it feels like it's been a couple of years that we're a little out of whack. And speaking of which, somehow after a year and a half of Zoom, I'm a little anxious that my Zoom skills are a little rusty. So bear with me. I had to practice today. But anyway, I do have a presentation for you. It's really nice to meet you. Miss Greenlee, it's really nice to see you. I remember Seji well. And, hello, everybody. So I'll get right to it and not take up any more time. 1 second. It's my rustiness. Okay, here we go. Let me see. So can you see this well enough?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, that's my.
We can see your screen, but the slide's a little bit cut off. So I don't know if you want to.
It is kind of cut off, isn't it? Here, let
Yes,
me
there you go.
go
We can see
in.
that.
Oh, you know what? I'll minimize the Zoom. That'll do it. And then I had to turn off because I use my own computer, and I said, "Oh, I don't want like all my notifications popping up. What if it's embarrassing?" So I had to really think about it, you know.
Now we can see it.
Anyhow, I'm starting at the end. Let me start at the beginning.
Very
So Club Littman school year is how we always think of it. So 21-22. And just a little bit about us. As you mentioned, the city graciously, with a large grant, funds much of our after school program. It's beginning its 7th year this coming school year. Our Club Littman clubs have been led by our after school staff. It's myself and currently Mr. Fletcher is the other person who regularly works. And sometimes we bring in Ms. Rydeen to help with like overflow during homework club, our busiest time. We've had community members lead with us, teachers, outside agencies, our own Brisbane aquatic staff, of which I have my youngest child has worked for us to do junior lifeguarding, and sometimes even former students. I am not going to read this list, but there are 46 classes to date of a variety of 46 different clubs that we've had over the years. So we feel like we've tried a lot of different things. Some things really stick and, the kids are waiting for them. And we just feel really like blessed and fortunate to be able to have such a diverse offering and so much participation from our kids. So the support of our students, the skills they're learning, their interests that they're piquing, and the relationships that they form are really valued and appreciated. So I just want to make sure and share that with you. The objective basically of our middle school club, something like going into it, we really thought a lot about, basically was we wanted to have a teen program that creates a supportive place for teens, to have healthy activities after the school day. It provides increased supervision, during a time where they might not always be so supervised. Improves their academic achievement and emotional well-being, just kind of having that time after school and that extra support, and then access to enrichment opportunities that, many of our students might not always have. So those were kind of some of our objectives going into it. Just some data, we were really proud that the very first year that we've all been back on campus, amidst half of our school being unavailable to us when we first started due to construction, that we had 80% of our kids this year participating in after school activities. When we started off, we had about 48% of our kids, and our highest year of enrollment after school was 95% of our students. So that means almost all of our student body, or at least currently 80%, have been taking advantage of it. And we're really happy about that. And then this is just kind of some information about what an effective after school program looks like. And so how Littman meets that criteria. So, helping young people develop strong, positive relationships. There are the adults that they engage with after school in kind of a different role that help lend to that. They feel supported and cared for, building on a young person's strengths rather than focusing on their weaknesses. So students are challenged and encouraged to grow and to stretch themselves and maybe learn something new. And the students receive help in a supporting and nurturing environment. Providing an environment that helps young people develop positive relationships with peers. So students have an opportunity to be both social in things like claymation and model building and clubhouse, and to learn a new skill with new friends that they might not normally, interact with during the regular school day, doing things like coding and 3D modeling and junior lifeguarding. And then behavior expectations are clear and school rules apply in all of our after school program. And we definitely use and celebrate our life skills. It gives our youth a challenge that they can rise to. So, they might be doing activities they've never thought about before and end up really enjoying them. There's an enriching creative activity that they can participate. So things like yearbook board games and crochet and knitting. And, there's just lots of opportunities for them to try something else that's kind of creative and enriching. It gives youth opportunities to develop leadership and decision-making skills. So we've had things like chess and leadership and junior lifeguarding that, kind of hone those types of skills, and then focus on the development of needs, the developmental needs of young people by nurturing their autonomy. And at the same time, the programs lend them guidance. So the kids have choice in the activities that they sign up for, or, along with their families, make a choice about what they sign up for and when they take it. Providing all of these opportunities over the long term. So many of our clubs we've offered throughout the school year, and they might, dive into something and they get to continue to work at it. And some of the clubs even, continue from one year to the next, so that they can have time to form an interest. And this is just from a report about what do adolescents need for healthy development, implications for youth policy. And then I just kind of wanted to include, just for some background information, I guess, our expectation and permission form that goes home to kids, just for some clarity. And so our programs are welcoming to all students, and it's important that all students feel comfortable. We use our life skills that we use at school, in our after school program as well. They're expected to follow school rules after school. If there are problems with behavior, then we call home. When they're in homework club, they kind of have to stick to doing academic things. So even if they were finished their homework, we want them to read and work on other kind of skill building programs. It's expected that once a student's enrolled in a program that they'll attend regularly, because sometimes our programs are impacted and not everyone can get in. So that's only kind of fair. And then repeated absences might result in students being dropped from a program, as there are other students who might be waiting. So those are just kind of some of the guidelines of our program. And then lastly, I just wanted to share some feedback from the Lippman community, our community. They appreciate that there's a diverse group of students attending, a wide range of activities offered. It's helpful for parents who are working, to have care after school. There's less work to be done in those after school hours, which are sometimes busy with sports and other activities and just family time. There's assistance available from adults that are present. And on occasion we have, teachers that will come in and join us to talk about things. And then also, I think it's really valuable that the kids have this opportunity to work with other students. And then what we hear from them are that the clubs are fun. And another really nice compliment I wanted to share was just thanking us for creating a space for my student to feel safe and welcomed. So that was pretty much my presentation. And now if I can stop sharing the screen. Ta-da! So I think, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And so just kind of a quick overview. I know many people are new and just might not be as familiar with our program. So please go ahead, ask away.
Julie, you had your hand up.
First of all, thank you, Michelle. It's wonderful to see that. I love that 80% of students are back in this type of program. I could have seen, or I would have guessed that might change actually, with so many people being home. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And, I have to say, we just did a survey on what, people are looking for in the community. And I think teen needs are really on my mind. And just reading the news today, there's just so much hardship, I think, that young people are facing.
Yes.
And I'm going to give a report out soon. We met with our teen YAC members and got some really good feedback about what they want. But I guess what I want to ask is, have you seen that now that students are back, are they struggling more now versus pre-COVID? Are there any kind of clubs or ways you're addressing kind of the mental health? And I know that's a tricky one, so I'm just curious about what your perception is there.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely speaking from my mind. Not necessarily in a club form. We have a lot of services available to our students, period. And I do feel like they're utilized. And I do feel like it's been a trying time. And I see it I feel it, and our community
Yeah.
feels it, and our teachers feel it, and our kids feel it. But I think the overwhelming feeling is just this gratefulness for being back together. And all of us, we had a year when half of us were here and half of us were at home. And that was challenging too. It's just really been great to be back together and to be able to like have community events, and occasionally we get a parent back on campus, which is really lovely. Or, just people in our community that we just haven't seen enough of. So I think just being back together has been a big thing. I do think there's probably, the mental health, I do see it a little bit more, in my opinion anyway, but I feel like we serve that in different ways at school, not necessarily so much after school. But that's an interesting thought if we could, put those things together. But I think just being there and available, I think is the biggest thing that we're doing. And we even actually did hold Club Littman virtually when we were at home. It was challenging, and we obviously didn't reach as many kids, but still we held it, and we had homework club groups that were just online, and we had game groups that were online. We offered chess that they were able to do it online. So we did our best to even like through the pandemic, have it. And as soon as we started back on campus, we went ahead and started up after school. And we were just a little bit more thoughtful about like for programs like homework club, we would keep 8th graders in one room and 7th graders in it, just to kind of mitigate, exposure. But it really worked out really well. We also took advantage of our outdoor spaces, which are lovely in Brisbane. I live in Daly City. It's a little more foggy. And, we took advantage of our outdoor spaces. And as soon as Jeff was willing to open the pool to us, we were right there, and the mountain and our blacktop and things like that. So it's worked really well. So I'd love to hear whatever you hear from kids at the Yak though too.
That's great. And I will be sharing that. And then the other thing, and this is more for Noreen and staff, but, just looking at the wait list, and I know to a certain extent, like that's just going to happen and you don't want to overstuff, but I would just say, I think the most important priority for us is making sure that every kid who needs this after school programming has access.
Oh, so that might be a little confusing on my part. There are no kids that don't get into after school. You just might not get one club. And
got it. Okay, good. That's really good to know.
If I had a screen, if it was convenient, like in any given day, we probably have 5 activities in the 2 hours that we're there after school. And so if you can't join this one, there's choice
another one.
Choose this one. And if you can't get in this one, you choose that one. So kids are not missing out. They just might not get the highest leadership, if you'll believe it, was very popular. And so, which is great. You know what I mean? So maybe you didn't get to sign up for leadership the first time, and then you learned, I need to turn in my paperwork quickly, and I get in the second time. So nobody's turned away. Like we always have room.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for clarifying. That's really helpful.
Yeah, and I have a question. How long has the After School Club Lippman been in existence?
So if my looking back in my drive is correct, I think 7 years. Like the contract and everything goes through the district office, but I've been there since its inception. I think it's 7 years. So it's been a little while.
Okay. Yeah.
So Seji was part of it because Hannah, who was in his class, was as well. And that's the youngest one who works at the pool.
Yeah, I think he was big in leadership. He loved that.
Yeah. The kids love to have a voice, And
it really helped him gain confidence to go into high school, because high school is
definitely
for kids, and it's a great way for them to transition to more kids that they don't know, and
right, and being comfortable with something new. I also really, that's what I appreciated a lot, was just being brave enough to try something new. And I also just feel like the relationships between the staff that's there, and sometimes our teachers, like this year even, we had other teachers that did like crochet and knitting, and a teacher that did board games. We've had a teacher that's done running, and just sometimes like that relationship with the teacher in a different light than during the school day is also really sweet. And just the time with the adult in a kind of a different setting than our typical school day is just really nice as well.
And let me tell you, before this happened, our library was a mess. It was just, that was the only place that kids could go after school to do homework. And those teens would just mob the library, and it was really not fun for the library. And so this is such a better solution, and I'm so glad.
We can share the kids now.
Yes. But I think just having the same rules, you know what I mean? Like that they have to follow at school, also after school, just makes parents feel much better than them just, free ranging around. There's plenty of time for free ranging, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being that we're in a school setting, and the most important thing is for everyone to feel comfortable and safe trying something that maybe they're not too sure of, and with different kids than maybe are in their class every day. So it just really makes it run much more smoothly and comfortably, and people feel secure if we have the same rules. And it would be silly, like, how would we drop the rules? It's 3:00 now, the rules don't apply anymore. So it just works better, really.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of creativity that goes on that allows kids to stretch muscles that they're not using when they're in class, and they're
definitely.
Yeah. Great. Is there any other questions, you guys?
Hey, Michelle, it was great to meet you. Thank you for the presentation. The breadth of these offerings are fantastic. Out of curiosity, what are the top 3 classes in terms of popularity?
Let's see. So leadership was so much more popular than I ever would have expected. Board games was very popular this past year. And that was led by our 8th grade teacher. Another one, junior lifeguarding tends to be, I almost always fill that. And any of our swimming programs. Over the years, we've had a chef come in and do cooking, but we're just not quite there, right now. And also our kitchen wasn't, ready for half the year. But cooking always would fill. And many of them, like we've had pretty good times with chess, sometimes with guitar. Oh, I know this year, the coding and the 3D modeling filled up pretty quickly. Yeah. So we always have things that fill up, but then we just always have extra spots. In our first hour after school, we really try and pack in homework club, because that's really something we like for the kids to get out of the program. And then it's also available in the second hour. So if you were to take a club that's right after, you still can do homework club if you'd like to. And then in that second hour, we tend to weave in a lot of little extra things, so that, like we were talking about, if somebody can't get into one thing, there's still always a spot for you. So, technically kids, and we do have kids that are with us every day for 2 hours every day. And, they just have this little interesting little schedule after school, and we become quite well acquainted with them.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice to meet you too.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Nori.
Have a good evening, Michelle.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay. So next we have old business. National Park and Rec Month.
Yeah.
Do you have an attachment for that?
We do, but we're going to share a little bit more too. So I'm going to kind of report out on this in 3 different parts. So at last Thursday's city council meeting, the council did a proclamation declaring July as National Park and Recreation Month. It is a nationwide campaign that we participate in every year. And then I'm also going to share a video that the city's communications and marketing team is putting together to kind of serve as overviews of what each of the city's departments do. And they released ours in conjunction with National Park and Rec Month. So I don't know if you've all had an opportunity to view it on the city's social media sites, but I'm going to go ahead and play it here through my share screen. So bear with me for a second. Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to hit play.
The mission of Parks and Recreation Services in Brisbane is to engage and inspire a healthier community by providing fun, inclusive, innovative, and safe parks facilities and programs. The Parks and Recreation team is comprised of 7 full-time employees and over 50 part-time employees that are committed to enhancing the quality of life for Brisbane residents. These dedicated individuals serve the community in a variety of ways, including weekly meal service to seniors, preschool and after-school enrichment, and health and wellness programs. Our Parks and Recreation programs aid in the prevention of chronic diseases, fight obesity, nurture human development, and improve the mental and emotional well-being of our residents. Working collaboratively with the Parks and Recreation Commission, the team develops programs and services to meet the needs of Brisbane residents. Commissioners support department efforts by serving in an advisory capacity to the City Council on policy matters relative to the development of parks and facilities. Similarly, the Youth Advisory Committee focuses on issues concerning youth and teens in our community. The department supports City Council's goal of building community by hosting over 20 annual events. These vibrant events establish traditions, celebrate the arts, restore native habitats, recognize stewards of the community, and bring families and neighbors together. The Parks and Recreation Department works closely with the city's Public Works team to preserve and maintain all of its recreational amenities, including sports fields, community centers, trails, parks, and the pool, all while ensuring they remain safe for public use. Residents are encouraged to utilize the department's online system to register for programs and activities or to submit a request for a facility rental. However, our team can also be reached at 415-508-2140. The Parks and Recreation Department team is grateful for the opportunity to serve the Brisbane community and looks forward to continuing to create memorable experiences for residents of all ages.
All right, there you go. And with that, I thought we would share all that we're doing. We're now almost halfway through the month, and our team has been working very hard to curate a variety of activities for our residents celebrating throughout the entire month. So I am going to kick it over to Nicole, who's done a lot of the heavy lifting here so that she cannot necessarily take the credit, because she won't take the credit, but I'll give her the credit and present kind of what we've been doing throughout the month. So I will share screen and be Hervana, and go ahead, Nicole.
Perfect. Thank you, Noreen. And again, hello, commissioners. It's nice to have met some of you already, but looking forward to meeting the rest of you in person sometime soon. As Noreen mentioned, we have put together a lot of different activities and events for the month of Park and Rec Month. And so this was our first post that we did. The theme this month is We Rise Up. And so this is We Rise Up for inclusion, resilience, physical health, mental well-being, access to play, and we rise up for our community. I think it was seen during the pandemic that recreation really stepped up and was a pivotal part of the community. So it's continuing on in this month, and I'd like to continue to show you some of the things that we've been working on. So if you could do the next slide. Perfect. So that is a look. I know it's a lot of information on one screen, but we tried to incorporate at least in some sort of program or activity or recommendation throughout the month of July to get people focused on park and recreation. So we'll flip through a couple more slides and I'll show you some of the things that we have already done and some things that are coming along still for the rest of the month. So here we have all of our Music in the Park series events. So the three on the left are the ones that, well, the two on the left, top ones have already been accomplished. And then we have the next country concert at the end over there. And then the two on the right to finalize our summer concert series. The next slide here shows just from last week, our Native Elements performance that came. We also had a rock climbing wall, and as was mentioned, it was a really beautiful day out. It was really great to have partnered with the Health and Wellness Fair, and just a beautiful day to be out and enjoying the community park. On the next slide, Bark in the Park. This was one of our first events that we put on. We just set up a pop-up tent and had some swag that we gave out to the community and promoted our upcoming events. And it was just a really great start and kickoff to the month. And actually right there is my pup, Dingo.
So cute.
Moving right along, then we had our popsicle giveaway this last Monday. Was able to pass out some popsicles on a nice refreshing day. Next slide, please. Here are a couple more. We have Come Play Cat. We were over at the Littman Field. Just this evening, we had pickup sand volleyball over at our beautiful volleyball courts. We do offer drop-in pickleball every Thursday for free for Park and Rec Month. And then this Friday, we're going to be hosting a little art program from 4:30 to 5:30 over at the community center for the public. And all of these things are free on this particular slide. And we indicated if there was a fee associated to any of the programs. Next slide, please. So here is one, our ever popular water aerobic program. It's offered more than just on Mondays, but we wanted to highlight it for July 18th from 10 to 10:45. And that one does have an entrance fee required, and it is pretty popular. So it's a first come, first serve, but highlighting our wonderful water aerobics program. Then we have our kickball at Littman Field. This is one Wednesday, the 20th at 6 p.m. This is geared towards our 21 and up crowd, and that's more to have a diverse option of programs to the community. And then alongside that is on July 22nd, we are hosting a glow in the dark swim over at the community pool. And by glow in the dark swim, we mean that there's going to be glow in the dark LED beach balls and LED lights that are going to be out there. And we're excited to host the teen community for that. And there is a registration for that, but it is again free. And then these are some of our final ones for the month. We're offering some s'mores to the community, prepackaged s'mores on July 25th, and then some lawn games in conjunction with the farmers market that'll be out there at the same time on Thursday, the 28th. And then as we wrap up July and we look ahead, we are promoting our Brisbane Community Night, August 12th. It'll be against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's one that we offered prior to the pandemic and are excited to bring it back, and it'll be my first time. So tickets are already pre-purchased and can be purchased through Jovi, and they're in the View Reserve section, $325.
Go Giants.
Yeah. And then the final slide is just a little save the date, August 26th. Our ever popular cornhole tournament is getting a specific theme. So we're going to have an 80s themed cornhole tournament. Costumes are very much encouraged. And it'll be just another opportunity to get outside and have a little fun on a nice summer day. So I believe that wraps it up, but a lot of great things going on, and I'm excited to be a part of it. It's pretty cool to have joined about June 6th and then just hop right into Park and Rec Month. That's all I have.
That's great. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, such fun activities. I love the 80s theme and all of the things. I was looking at the calendar and I can't wait. I'm going to participate in as many as I can.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to item D, LunaFest event debrief. And Noreen, do you want to just run the numbers for us for that? Or should I do it?
Yeah, I'm happy to share highlights.
Okay,
but
great.
also encourage the commissioners who were present and involved to give their input as well. We're always looking to kind of improve the event, and this was our first time back in person after 2-year hiatus, so I think it was a little bit different than we expected, but still a very large success. So we raised right around $34,000 for this year's LunaFest film screening. which put us over $100,000 in the 4 years that we've been running the event. And all of that money is going straight back into the Brisbane community to women pursuing degrees in male-dominated fields through the Brisbane Lions Club Scholarship Fund. So very, very much to be proud of there. And I just want to thank all of the commissioners who had a hand in the event in some way or another. Most of you did, whether it was through securing donations or donating yourselves or being present at the event or just encouraging your friends and family to buy tickets. So thank you all for contributing to the success of the event. I know Madison and I both very much appreciate it. So.
Yeah, I just have to say that I thought it was a great event. And, you know, even though the money for this goes to scholarships that promote women's scholarships through the Lions Club, it also helps everybody in that it frees up money from the women's side to have a little more money maybe for the boys. So it's both ways. And it's just a great event. I thought the films were really good this year. And honestly, I'd never been before. I bought tickets, but I never actually went. It was great. I'm going every year. And the food and the drinks were just really fun. So.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lisa. I thought it was a fantastic event. I think the food was unexpected and great. I really loved the cider and giveaway at the very end, and everybody was cheering that on and big smiles all around. And to your point, Lisa, every single film this year was out of the ballpark. I mean, there was a point in time I was looking around the crowd and there were not very many dry eyes. So yeah, I think the event overall was a great success, and thank you to staff for getting it set up and just executing it perfectly.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a film buff, just more people should be there. They were that good. And one thing that's amazing, that, you know, this little town in Madison raised more money than any other community for LunaFest. I mean, that's unbelievable, and she should be highlighted there. But I do, you know, I think COVID threw us a little bit of a loop there, and boy, we could really more people needed to see those films. So spectacular night.
I missed because of COVID. I had tickets that I had COVID too. But I just totally agree with what everyone's saying. This is such a feather in Brisbane's cap. It's really something for us all to be proud of.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. It was my first LunaFest ever. The films were just an eye opener. It's like it relates to like real life and actual real life people, and I wanted to share it with my kids when I got home. Like, oh, you guys got to look at these films, and you know, I just think it was like very empowering.
Yeah, really well done. And it was a great committee to work on. If anybody ever wants to work on a really fun committee, it's a good one. It's a good one. And of course, Madison just knocked it out of the park. She's amazing. Okay, so on to offsite facility tour rescheduling. Yes, we had to cancel that because too many people were out of town. So what does the schedule look like, Noreen, for us to have this happen?
Yeah, so I wanted to put this on the agenda just to kind of get the pulse from the commission about whether or not we want to try to get something scheduled within the next month or two while we still have nice-ish weather. Typically, we try to do the offsite facilities tour in the summer because weather's nicer and it's lighter later, so the ability to go and see facilities while it's still light out is definitely preferable. So something that we were going to discuss towards the end of this meeting is whether or not to hold an August meeting. I will personally be out of town when our regular meeting is scheduled. And historically, the commission has opted to take a break during summer recess when council's on recess. So council will have a meeting tomorrow night and then won't resume until September. So August has been a meeting that the commission has elected to take off in the past. So I wanted to put that out to the group. But if we still wanted to try and schedule an offsite facilities tour between now and September, outside of our regular August business meeting, we could do that. So I'm sure other people have vacations on their calendars as well, and might be a little bit more challenging at this point. But
Some of
I
us.
I would like to do it if we can figure out a date that would work for people, just because we didn't do it when we were planning on it. So I think it would be nice, but I know it gets really tricky with schedules, so I'm not sure what's really possible.
So I have a question. Did we schedule it during the week, kind of after work hours? So that kind of heavily depends on staff as far as not going, too far into their personal time.
Yeah.
So, what do we have any open evenings that staff looks like is good for them? I mean, I'm pretty open and I think it's a really important thing to do. I think because it's a real eye opener. We haven't looked at our facilities in a while. So,
And the other thing I'll say is just now, like it was really nice to look through the survey results, and now combining the survey results with the facilities tour, I think it'll give us just a really nice framework to come back in the fall and decide what we're going to focus on and really narrow in on that.
That's a great point.
okay, it sounds like there's some consensus on still trying to make that happen while the weather is nice. So I think what would be helpful for staff is if you could send me your absolute blackout dates between, let's say, next week and the end of August. If you know you're away on vacation certain days, or there's certain evenings that you absolutely couldn't accommodate, it would be helpful for us to have that, so then we can put out a poll to the commissioners with some prospective dates and then try to nail something down from there.
You want us to send that directly to you, Noreen?
Yeah, if you could, that would be great. And then Jovi and I will kind of get together in the next couple of days and try to send something out to everybody to determine everyone's availability.
okay. And what is the span of dates? I missed that.
Let's say starting, hold on, let me pull up my, because we need at least 72 hours to post. So starting next Wednesday, the 20th through the end of August. Let's start with that and see where that gets us.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see. New business. Item F, needs assessment survey result. Ooh, who's going to present this? This was great.
Before we jump in, because this is going to be a lot to sift through, does anybody need a quick break or restroom break, beverage break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, maybe let's just do like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay.
Come back at 7:30, 7:31.
Getting snack.
Okay.
Lisa, I hope you have some good snacks. They're very healthy snacks.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah, that's delicious.
It's a balance. It's a
It's a
balance.
balance. Yeah, Dave's client gave him all these like cookies that he brought home, like a huge bag of cookies.
Are
And I
you
was like,
kidding me?
it's in one, they're like sprinkle funfetti cookies, which I just love funfetti because it's just so
And
cheerful and
And
delicious.
your husband is so thin and healthy, right?
I
He's-
know. I'm
he's like
sure they're
cookies.
trying to
Yeah.
help him. Yeah. Temptation.
Just as an FYI, we are still broadcasting, so now everybody knows about your cookies.
Uh-oh.
I'm just letting you know.
If any, but I might just put them on the Brisbane like giveaway list to serve.
Help, I'm drowning in cookies.
Yes.
I printed out this report and I hope I have it in the right order. I kind of, I do. Okay, because I kind of like shuffled it around reading it. No, I'm afraid. No, I think I still have it in the right order. Oops.
I thought it was a great presentation of the data, Noreen. So thank you.
It required some massaging, I will say, because this was the first time that we used the web form functionality through our website versus like a SurveyMonkey platform where the extraction of data is all nice and pretty. So I spent a fair amount of time kind of making it look legible and user friendly. So
You did a good job with it. I could tell some work went into it because they never turn out that pretty.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Thanks. All right, are we all back? Natalie.
I am here.
All right. Okay, so we will resume our meeting.
Okay, meeting resumed. So how do we do this? Who's presenting this and how are we doing it?
I will go ahead and present.
Perfect.
I'm going to share my screen, but before I do that, really the purpose of this tonight is really as an informational item. We're not going to be taking any action directly around it, but just to kind of review the summary of responses that were received and then start a discussion about where we want to go from here. Before I jump into the content, I wanted to share a quote that I received in an email from one of our residents. They said, first and foremost, thank you all for taking the time to put together the Parks and Recreation Survey. It is very much appreciated that you care so much and want to address the needs and concerns of the community. I'm so proud to live in a town where the Recreation Department somehow manages to put on countless events and classes for a wide variety of community members and always ensures that they are hugely successful, even through the trying times that we have been through the last few years. So I think the public has really appreciated the opportunity to have their voice heard. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so with that, I will just dive right in. I think just for the purpose of logistics, it probably makes the most sense to just go through the full presentation and save discussion until the end. But if you need to interrupt me, feel free to do so. Is everybody able to see my screen? Okay. So just a quick overview slide. This process was kind of driven from the commission's work plan and identified as a high priority moving into the next year in a post-pandemic world. The last time we did a needs assessment survey was in 2017, so it's been 5 years. We had the survey open for public input for approximately 10 weeks. We had originally established the goal to survey 10% of the population or Brisbane households. And with all of the outreach methods, we had about 187 respondents or 94% to the goal. On the next slide, we have a list of all of our various outreach methods, both direct and online. Thank you to, I think that's Frank and Renee in the photo there, who very graciously stood out at the farmers market with the wind and engaged the community that was there, encouraged them to participate in the process and fill out the surveys on site and give out a bunch of swag. So thank you for that. We tried to put out the information about the survey and create awareness wherever we possibly could through events that we've had over the last couple of months, through our community partnerships, through all of our kind of online web-based social media platforms. So we really tried to inundate people with the information. And I think the saying is that people have to see something 7 times to act. So I think from a staff perspective, we're pleased with the number of responses that we received. And I think probably by the tail end, people were like, okay, enough. We've done it already. So it ran its course, and we're pleased with the response, I think.
I'm pleased too.
Okay.
I thought that was a good number to get. And, you know, I saw it everywhere.
Yeah.
So
that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
So. All right, diving right in. So the way that we structured the survey was to kind of break it out into facilities and programs and then all the other extras. So we're going to jump into the facility related questions first. The first question was how the public rated our parks and recreation facilities. And as you can see here in the chart that's on the left-hand side, 37 people said excellent, 90 said good, 47 said okay, somewhat poor was 7, and poor was 2. I should also share that most of these questions had additional write-in options if they had supplemental comments that they wanted to make. And so all of that information was included in the agenda packets and available for the public's review as well as commissioner's review. I'm not going to go through that level of content this evening, or we'll be here all night. So I tried to summarize the data as best I could. Moving on to question 2, we asked the public which facilities those that live within their household utilize. You can see the majority said the community park, our hiking and jogging and walking trails, and the community pool. At a second tier level, Mission Blue, sports fields, dog park, basketball courts, and community center. And then not as many, but still some said other, skate park, volleyball courts, and the Sunrise. Question number 3, we asked people to rank the top 2 facilities that they would like the department to focus on for upgrades and enhancement. The top ranking facilities included the community park, trails, pool, which as you can see, that's also reflected with the amount of use in those facilities. And then beyond that, community center, fields, Mission Blue, Sunrise Room, and then much fewer for things like the dog park and the basketball court, skate park, and volleyball courts, which tend to be, those are kind of the newer facilities or the facilities that have been given attention in recent years. So it's not surprising to see this ranked in such a way. Question number 4, we asked if people have used the swimming pool over the past 10 months, how they would rate their experience. The majority said good and okay. We had a handful of people say poor, and then 67 people who indicated that they had not used the pool over the past 10 months. Question number 5, we asked what types of facility enhancements they would be most interested in having the city invest in. A lot of people said multi-use court, something like a bocce ball court, or could be a pickleball court or cornhole. And then we had a handful of comments and responses suggesting other things that we did not kind of build into the answer options. Then Marina and Mission Blue. And I think that's it for our facility related questions. So we'll move in through programs. Question number 6, similar to question number 1, we asked the public to rate the overall quality of our parks and recreation programs. 35 people said excellent, 96 said good, 45 said okay, 7 said somewhat poor, and poor said 1. And then looking to our parks and recreation programs and which programs people and individuals in their household utilize the most, a lot for special events, quite a bit for swim lessons as well. And then at the second tier, seasonal camps, adult fitness classes, childcare, youth sports. And then on the bottom tier, youth enrichment, preschool, teen programs, senior programs, and adult sports. Question number 8, we asked which of our program areas people would like to see prioritized for improvement over the next 2 years. The top rated areas included adult and fitness enrichment, special events, programs for childcare, programs for teens, programs for families, and then senior programs and other. And when asked about senior activities and engagement specifically, we polled the public as to what they thought would be most desirable for that demographic. They indicated day trips and volunteer programs, special events and dance, visual performing arts, technical training, and then a few for photography and other suggestions. We asked a similar question regarding youth and teen programs and which they thought would be most desirable by that age group. Quite a few said life skills, additional team sports, wellness programs, cooking and nutrition, arts and crafts, and then a few other additional suggestions. Similar question for ages 11 and under. It seems enrichment programs rose to the top there, as well as more parent, the P&O stands for parent night out or parent date night events, which we do a handful throughout the year, but it looks like people want a little bit more. Camps, group sports, expanded childcare, and then other. Question 12, we asked if people had a child enrolled in the city-sponsored preschool or after-school program, how they would rate the communication that they receive regarding that care. You can see on the graph here, excellent and good take up the bulk of responses, with just a couple that indicated okay or somewhat poor. And then if the city were to co-sponsor additional community fitness classes, which would you most likely attend? There was a lot of really great feedback in the responses to this question. So we kind of built in some overarching options here with, strength training, yoga, meditation, Pilates, but people also gave a lot of great suggestions in the comments there as well. So it seems like an area that we may want to focus on in the coming years. And then kind of the non-categorized questions, the first being the concept or idea about renting or offering sports equipment to the public, and whether they would be interested in utilizing those types of things. A lot of people said pickleball and bocce balls and tennis. A few indicated they would be interested in renting art supplies or cornhole supplies. And then it seems less kind of had a need for sports equipment specifically. And then overall, how informed do people feel about the activities that are happening in Brisbane? It looks like the majority of people said they felt well informed or somewhat informed, with 14 people indicating that they did not feel very well informed. Question number 16 is kind of a follow-up to the previous question regarding how people receive information about what's going on in the city. The bulk of people said the monthly star, which gets mailed to every resident in Brisbane, city signboards, social media, activity guide, weekly blast, the Chamber of Commerce luminary newsletter, city website and calendar, or other. A lot of the other responses seem to be word of mouth. And then finally, demographic questions. The desire to include these questions really kind of came from the city's IDEA committee and EPIC committee to understand who's utilizing our programs and being able to cross-reference in the future. So we asked the question about gender, ethnicity, household age group demographics, and household income. So the responses are here. I'm not going to verbalize all of them, but you can get a sense of who completed the survey just looking through these demographic questions. And so with that, I'm opening up the discussion to the commission to kind of talk through the responses that we've received and to try and identify some next steps. This could be something that we bring back to our next formal commission meeting to kind of dissect at a more granular level. It could be that we identify a couple of priorities and then kick the conversation to the subcommittees to either discuss about rec programs or rec facilities or special events and so on. I really want to honor the process and the work that went into this and not kind of rush through our next steps, and be really really intentional about how we move forward all of the information that we've received from our community and our residents, and making sure that we're honoring what we've heard and acknowledging their voices and being very strategic about the next steps that we take in the coming years regarding our priorities. So with that, I will open the conversation. If you need me to scroll back to any of the previous slides, I'm happy to do that.
I would love to see a drill down on question 5. And we don't have to do it tonight, but it would be great. The something else, 54.
Yeah. Let me see. Are you able to see my other share screen now? Okay. So here were the write-in responses regarding something else.
I have a comment or a suggestion, and I thought the write-in information was really helpful, and there was a lot of it. And for me, it was hard to kind of really get a sense of like how many people want pickleball versus something else, for example, or you know, how much weight to put into each answer, and some were repetitive. And so I thought, and tell me if this is not an appropriate use of their time, but the Youth Advisory Committee, this could be a project that we see if they can take some of this and, you know, organize it for us. I thought it could be a good leadership task. And I'd just like to, you know, get a little more organization. My first thought was maybe I'll do it myself. And then I thought, wow, this could be fun for the Youth Advisory Committee to report back to us, and just kind of take some of these write-in answers and highlight what the most popular ones are. What are the themes based on that? Because that was the part that was hard to parse out for me. So I don't know, Noreen, if that's appropriate or not, or if their plates are full, but that was one idea I had.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly put it out to them to do that. I kind of felt the same sifting through. I tried where it made sense to kind of group the responses, for example, on question 3 regarding hiking trails. So, you know, I had 20 people that just said Crocker Trail in here. So I tried to lump them together and then give those kind of final numbers, but these are representative of other individual responses. So where it makes sense to do that, we could certainly see if the Youth Advisory Committee is interested in taking that on. Otherwise, staff can kind of take it to that next level beyond this.
Yeah, great suggestion, Julie, because when I was going through these comments, even question to question, there was themes running through the I guess the user generated feedback. So I think that's smart to do that.
The other question I have, is just on the demographic information. I'm interested in how the information of the survey respondents corresponds to Brisbane's overall demographics, if we have that. Just to get a check on, like, are we kind of aligning? And I know it won't align perfectly, but, you know, incomes, for example, I noticed the higher we had a lot of higher income levels and not a lot of lower income levels. And maybe that's just, you know, how we are. And also the demographics. I'd be interested in how it compares, because if we have to do special outreach to reach some groups, maybe we should do that in the future.
Well, and the great news is some men completed the survey this time.
Yes,
so
yay.
That's great.
I think overall it was very positive responses. Like, you know, it felt like not a lot of complainers out there.
I was really, I you know, do a lot of research in my job, and this is very positive. I mean, it was really, I think, Noreen, it's a testament to you and the Parks and Recreation team that people are pretty happy. And I also think just the willingness to give ideas is also a really good sign that people feel heard, that they're willing to take the time and share that information. So I agree. Kudos. This overall was really positive, and I found it super informative too, just in terms of directional, what people are most interested in.
I think Noreen is knows it better than anybody. I mean, what did you learn? What stands out for you as far as a highlight?
I think I'm just really pleased that so many people are utilizing our programs, especially post-pandemic. And I think it really conveys the essential piece of what it is that we do as a department. You know, obviously, I hope that the broader community sees that. I know that council really places a lot of emphasis and value on parks and recreation programs and services. And I think that you see that in the community responses that, you know, we're not a money-making machine, right? We don't cover our costs. We're not, none of our programs are full cost recovery, but the value here is in the service to the community. And I think that through this process, I'm really proud to see that the community receives it that way. So.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and I also think that this is great information for us to use in our different committees. You know, like the facilities committee can really use this to figure out what people want us to focus on. You know, some of the people who use our pool and use our fields, and you know, what are their concerns? And I think this spells it all out. It does need to be digested, and I think in each committee, the events committees, the facilities committees, which all of these we're going to talk about, should look at this and digest this document and how it will affect our decisions on what to do next year. When I put it out on Facebook, and other people have had their little campaigns on Facebook, this has been a way for people. I heard on Facebook that this was a way for people to have their voices heard, and it was put out there like that. And I'm happy to see that. I wish, you know, more people had responded, and some people I know had their little campaign. You know what I mean? I think some feedback was probably, you know, pushed along by campaigns from certain people in the community, and that's fine. If they feel passionate about it and they want to campaign about it, this is the way to do it, you know? Because I said that too. I said many times when people were saying, we need a pickleball court, and it's like, well, fill out the survey and let your voices be heard. So this is great. I think we've got lots of good information here, and I just do think it needs to go to the committees after this for action.
Do the results go to the public, or maybe they have? I'm sorry if
they're publicly available. Yep.
Great.
How would a person look them up? Just go to the city website?
Well, they're in the agenda packet
for
this meeting. And we can put them online on the city website as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think we should.
Yeah, I think it helps to kind of continue the narrative and the conversation as we go through this process and take it to the subcommittee level. We'll have more focused conversations around, you know, teens and senior programs and special events. And so I hope that the public that participated in kind of this first phase of the process will continue to be engaged in the conversation about more specific details and logistics moving forward in the coming years. So the more opportunities we can create for people to participate, the better, I think.
And can this also, I'm sure it does, can city council digest this and look at this as far as budgeting some of the things we want? If there's a big groundswell of people who really want certain things done, and this shows some evidence of that, it can be used for a budgeting tool by the city council to fund some of these things, because so many of these things have been on our plates for a long time and we haven't had any budget. So
and to your point there, Lisa, historically we have had our liaison meeting with the city council Parks and Recreation Commission liaisons in September or October of each year. Actually September, because through that meeting we also select the volunteer of the year. So I think having this information and being able to speak with the council liaisons during that meeting will be really productive. We're only doing a 1-year budget cycle right now. So we just kind of got through the adopted budget for the next fiscal year, and we will be going through that process again starting later this fall and early into the winter. So having this information to guide some of our budget recommendations, I think will be helpful as well.
And Noreen, Lisa had a great question on how this information gets released. Could we mimic the process on how, when we release the survey questions to the public, would there be any way of kind of mimicking how we distributed those, you know, like through, what is it, like the newsletter or like?
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah, in addition to putting it on our city website, we can make an announcement on our social media and through the city manager's weekly blast. I think
even the signboard, I think we had like,
Yeah.
did you fill out the survey? And then it's like, we got the survey results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people, if you can engage people
Yeah.
to look at the results,
Mhm.
that will even push things further as far as public support. So when we come out with some new things, and maybe we want to spend some money on some new things, people will say, yeah, I voted for that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Great idea. And hey, I just want to call out Julie because I know that she put in extra effort in building out the survey. So thanks, Julie. I think you did a great job on that.
Oh, thank you. It was a great partnership with Noreen and the team. And I'm really excited because I feel like there were some surprising things for me too. Like just the number of people who want like adult fitness is interesting, and kind of it shows kind of what we need to do, or the life skills, you know, that people want us to focus on with the teen audience. And also I don't know, the marina is a very exciting like project for me, but it just seems like looking at the data, people are more interested in the community park, like things like that. So it's very telling.
Yeah.
And Noreen, can I give some constructive feedback?
Sure.
Ouch, here it comes. The survey was a little bit clunky to fill out on a mobile device. So if we do something like this again going forward, I think we need to keep that in mind. I know that when Renee and I were down at the farmers market, we were actually taking people's phones from them and actually helping them navigate some of the questions. And a lot of it had to came down to filling out the free form text.
Okay.
So yeah, it just was a little bit bumpy on a mobile device, but otherwise that's it. That's my constructive feedback right there. You knew it was coming, Noreen.
That's it. I can take that.
That's important though, Frank.
That is
Really
important.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned earlier, this was our first time using this platform, this web form embedded within our website. And so obviously there's some kinks to work out, but as much as possible when we're trying to engage the public, we want to remove any barriers to participation. So I think you guys being on site and being able to provide that feedback to us is super helpful for the next time around. So thank you.
I think also like I forgot who mentioned this with, I think Julie mentioned like with the socioeconomic part of it. I like to see how we can tap into those, like the income levels of how we can increase that, you know. I thought that was an interesting part of the results as well. So
Yeah, and I'll add, I think there will be an opportunity later this fall for us to liaison with the city's idea committee, because I know that they have some ideas kind of floating around, pun intended, ideas floating around. I know they're having preliminary conversations about more inclusive events and facilitating more inclusive events in the city, and that's kind of been events is kind of our territory, but we're certainly open to new ideas. And so kind of starting the conversation with them as to how we can collaborate. But I think this demographics conversation is certainly another area where we could work with them more directly. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I certainly anticipate maybe having some subcommittee liaisons that can work with the idea committee like we've done in the past for certain projects, like with the open space and ecology committee. So probably more to come on that, but you guys are all on the right track. And I think we're all kind of moving in the same direction, whether we know it or not. So.
Great
Well,
job, guys.
Super helpful information. All of it great. And I think we will point back to this when we're all in our meetings and use this information. I'm just really happy you did it. Kudos to everybody who worked on it.
Yeah. And thank you to the public for taking the time to fill it out.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's where the value comes from this. So thank you to all of the residents who took the 5 or 10 minutes to fill it out. Very much appreciated.
Very thoughtful.
Yay. Okay, are we done for now? I mean, I know we'll be revisiting this information, but for now, this was a great presentation, and there we have it. Next is reports. Item G is the chairperson report. That's me. And so I am putting on my chairperson report. I wanted to nail down a date for the garden show. And it's weird. I looked at my calendar and I had it written down for August 27th. Is that on anybody's calendar besides mine?
We don't have it on ours,
You don't have it on yours.
but we can put it on ours.
Okay. I think late August is a great time. When I think we did it a little bit more in the fall last time, and people were complaining a little bit that their veggies had already kind of finished. So let's aim for end of August. Hang on. Let me look at a calendar. So the 27th is a Saturday. And ours was a Saturday before. Does that work? Okay, I'm nominating the 27th.
I'll double check the city's calendar and make sure that there's no kind of conflicts. I did touch base with Sarah, and she just redirected to you and said you're the garden pro, and whenever a good time of year you think makes the most sense to hold an event like that, you will be there. So.
I remember putting this out there to the Brisbane gardener community and them saying some people really wanted it in the summer. And I was pushing it back to the fall because I know our falls are really beautiful for our gardens. And so I just kind of want to repeat what we did last year, maybe build a little more on it. I'm going to try and get together with Madison and talk about maybe getting some sponsors for some goodies for the show and maybe some slightly better prizes than our homemade ribbons. But I'm all for keeping it very low key as far as but the sooner we can get out ahead of it, the sooner the gardeners can plan.
Yeah.
Have their best stuff ready on that date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I'll
Lisa,
circle back. Oh, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, I'm willing to help. So whatever you need on that, I just a pair of hands. But I think there could be something cool marketing wise with some of the businesses in town, like the spa that was at the concerts. Like there could be a gardener's manicure as a prize or something like that.
It.
You know.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Ask for
Maybe the hardware store. I mean, I love.
Yeah, exactly.
What I would really like to do is to like present our businesses as like buy from Billy's. He's got the great stuff,
Yes.
you know, and even if we could buy stuff from Billy, like gift certificates as prizes,
Yeah.
you know, if we could raise the money to buy the stuff from Billy to have like beautiful garden shears, you know, I think that's a win-win. I don't want to be asking free stuff from too many people.
Yeah.
But you know, if we can get the sponsors and then we can get the prizes, I think that'll just take it to a big level. But I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. I really just want to hone down on you know, making it a great event and keeping it fun. We'll discuss like facilities, but I'm envisioning it pretty much the same as last year.
And Lisa, I haven't been to one of the fairs, but is there like a focus on, because we're in California, the drought tolerant section of the garden? Is there like something around that area? You know,
not really, but we do have you know, we could have something like that. Last year we had somebody from the native plant people had a table and they talked to people about native plants. That was more kind of a conservation discussion, but maybe we could have somebody from the water district talk to people about how to set up, you know, drip systems or something like that. You know, or I don't know. That's a good area to brainstorm because the drought is killing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for like people like myself, I don't do well with plants. So so I think it'd be also.
But the fun about the garden show is that you don't have to be a gardener
right
to go
Yeah.
into it and marvel at the roses that so-and-so grew. You know what I mean? It's like, it's for people who are really into it to show off and have a good time and share it with other people.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun event. You know?
I think also for me, like rookies or something like that, a rookie or like wanting to explore, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, and also I was trying to get like different categories for non-gardeners, like, you know, nature, photography, and, you know, so it kind of didn't go over. It was really more about the plant. But anyways, there are different ideas, and I'm looking forward to putting together a group of people to make it happen, you know, but the date is the first thing. So
yeah, I'll have Sarah nail down the date and then connect with you to kind of set up an initial planning meeting.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay. And the second thing on my list is I had a question from some people in the public about access to the garden in the back of the old library. The gates are chained and the garden seems to be fine. There's picnic tables and whatever. Is there a reason why the public doesn't have access?
I think it's probably, I can follow up just to confirm, but we had somebody locking it and unlocking it in the mornings, locking it in the evenings, because we can't leave it open all the time. And we were only opening it during times when we had either staff or people or open hours at the old library and or the community center, because we've had kind of an ongoing history of issues with people doing things back there and causing problems for the adjacent neighbors. So it's kind of a fine balance between making it accessible for public use, which we want to do, but also being able to supervise, kind of having eyes on it to make sure that there's nothing illegal transpiring or rowdy behavior. But I'm happy to circle back with the crew to see if we can start reopening and having some at least regular public access hours on a daily basis. So
yeah, because I mean, we have lots of other places and that, you know, that the city owns, park areas that are not monitored by the city that people do nefarious things in, and you kind of can't really help that as long as and some people have really expressed that they love that park, that they want to just go and sit in that park. So if we can make it accessible again, I think I've heard that people would really like that. Okay. So we'll circle back.
Yep, we'll do.
Okay, great. Next, our subcommittees. Public Arts Advisory Committee, we had meetings held on 5/23 and 5/26. Is that true? We did? That was so long ago. I swear to God, I went through my files and tried to find my notes on these meetings and I could not. I found the 5/23 notes and that we read the RFP proposal and the San Diego Arts Commission's thing. Anyways, those last two meetings were interesting. Oh, stop. We have left things to where we are still trying to figure out, and this is from my memory, which is foggy at best. Still trying to figure out how we are writing our RFP and what model we want to use for our city as far as an art advisory commission. And San Diego was too big, I remember. What were the cities that we liked? We liked, anybody else on those meetings besides me? Was that it?
Wasn't there San Mateo? I mean, not San Mateo, but like Burlingame?
Close. I think it was Millbrae.
Millbrae, right. Close to
Millbrae.
Yeah.
And also another little town down there, Los Gatos.
Yep.
I think, yeah. And both of those were better and had good stuff to offer. And what else? Anyways, I think we're just the main thing that we were trying to do is just get it going. You know, get a project going. And our first project that we're trying to get going is a space behind the bathrooms in the park. that kind of where the plug preserve is in the main park, and try and get something started there. Because we have discussed many other options, and it seems like that one would be a good one to tackle. And I do believe we set a budget, but then we have discussed, we don't know if that budget is going to be more or less, because we're just kind of shooting in the dark as far as how much money we're going to need to spend to make something happen. But I remember us really wanting to get something started.
Yeah,
Like-
that was the thing. And the one thing that was surprising to me that I learned was this is just one of many ideas. So it's not like we're trying to include the my goal is to try to include the public more and make sure that we don't do anything on our own and get everyone yells at us. But this is just one of many projects, and I learned a lot about where we can put these, these art projects, which is really interesting. I think it's important for everyone to know that there's many more other sites that are planned. We just wanted to start on one that was smaller and get it going and learn from it. And we'll make mistakes and we'll learn from those mistakes and move on. But let's go. Let's do it.
That's exactly what I remember. So that's kind of where that committee stands. Do we have another meeting planned after that one?
I think we took the summer off for vacations is what I remember.
Okay. Yeah, and that was kind of also another issue, was that if we don't, this is going to get pushed into the fall and then pushed into next year. And yeah, we saw the time ticking away. So you're right. And I think public input is really important, but I do think we have to get the ball rolling. And that's what we kind of came down on. So there you go. Item B, Teen Services Committee meeting. Is that you, Julie?
Yeah, Frank and I were on that. Frank, Sarah sent the notes. Did she send them to you too?
I got them, yes.
Okay, great. Do you want me to kind of start and then?
Yeah.
You probably have the better memory than I do, but I'll start. This one was a while ago too. But a couple of things. I'll go to the notes in a second, but first of all, we had Youth Advisory Council members who were on that call to share kind of their perspective on what teens can benefit from. And one of the things we'd asked for their feedback on was we're looking at working with the Daly City Youth Health Center, which serves all of the Northern Peninsula, to perhaps offer some support in Brisbane. So we got their feedback on that. And I think the thing that Frank and I were saying after the fact is these YAC members were so impressive. We both left with a feeling like, wow, if this is the future, we're in very good hands. So
agreed. I could not believe we were, interfacing with teenagers that were as articulate and as polished as this group was. It was amazing. It really was very inspiring.
And most of them are soccer players, I just have to say.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because more sports was something, and sports teams was something that they brought up. And I guess there were a couple of themes that really stood out to me, and really building off of the earlier conversation about the Lippman after school program. When you're a high schooler in Brisbane, and I think this is stating the obvious, but to me, just hearing them say it was very powerful. You don't have necessarily a community or a lot of activities to do in Brisbane because you're going to high school elsewhere. And that can be really hard. So in the summer, especially, to kind of find your group, it's a hard thing. And so that was one piece of feedback they gave, like, when they do after school stuff or activities, it's usually with their school. And so they're out of Brisbane for that. So then when summer happens and school's out, it would be nice to have more activities geared toward high schoolers. And I really heard that loud and clear. And the other thing that really stood out to me is one of the individuals said, she'd like activities that actually she could go to on her own and not feel awkward, like a sports situation where you have teams, right? So you're assigned to a team and there's that natural camaraderie. And so I thought that was very interesting and just not something I necessarily would have thought of on my own. Um, and so when we talked about mental health and kind of the Daly City Youth Health Center and how we might offer support, they looked at, you know, they said August might be a good time to have that kind of event. And they talked about having separate events for parents and teens, like one event for parents, one for teens. They said that you could encourage engagement by starting with handling school stress, like as school starts, having something connected to that. And also, it would be helpful to teach teens how to help their friends with mental health issues. They really said there would have to be, or it would be really helpful to have some incentive for teens to participate, like something that could look good on their college resume, or, you know, it was definitely, the conversation was indicative of the immense pressure that students face to excel. So they said, you know, just having that would probably incentivize a lot more students to attend. They said, you know, we could provide pizza, dinner, and get teens there. We also talked about like what kind of activities would they like to see in general for teens, and that's where sports came up. You know, tech support. They were interested in providing tech support to seniors, cooking. And again, if there's a way to do this so it's fulfilling their community service obligations, they said would be really helpful. They also talked about, you know, contests, scavenger hunts, those types of things, and that maybe we could also work with the schools to get survey data directly on what students are interested in terms of activities, which I think someone said on our survey, which I think is absolutely a good idea. But thinking about all of this, like my perception was, one, we have a great community. They seem very well taken care of in the community in Brisbane through junior high. And can we create something that builds that sense of community into high school when they are going to different places? Was just kind of something that came to mind and how we do that. So, and Frank, anything I missed?
No, I think you hit it on the head thematically there. That's exactly what we heard. And we heard from multiple members of the committee about putting together programs that will help them with community service hours. That came up repeatedly. And so I definitely think that there's an opportunity there. But yeah, Julie, great summary.
Why don't, and I'm sure you guys thought of this, why don't you have some kind of community service, teen community service, what do you say, committee or program or something where kids can say, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll go to that committee and they'll have options, you know, and then you take from the other side, you have nonprofits and you have food banks and you have senior centers and you have that say, hey, we could use people on Saturdays to hand out food, you know, and then that just gets the ball rolling, somehow putting those together through the Park and Rec department, maybe, you know.
Yeah, if I may, I think we have some of those opportunities already available to teens. They just might not be fully aware of it, like our summer leader and training program. We do get teens that volunteer at habitat restoration events and volunteer at other special events that we facilitate. So those opportunities are there. I think there's certainly room for growth. And I think getting the word out to the teens so that they have an awareness of those opportunities that are available to them would definitely be helpful. So we can work internally, maybe with the youth advisory committee, to kind of bundle that all in an informational packet of sort for teens, so that, and we can liaison with the Lippman as well, so that they know that these opportunities are available to them throughout the course of the year.
Well, and also liaison with things that are not associated with the city. For instance, like food banks and homeless shelters and, other community things that maybe go outside of the city for. And then having groups of kids from Brisbane doing these things together, which also builds team community, anyways, just some ideas.
I
Sounds
like those ideas. I think, Frank, we should have another meeting to kind of decide on our action plan based on that conversation. I do want to connect us with the Daly City Youth Health Center separately. I spoke to them. They're willing to send people out. So, I think August is probably a little soon, but we could look for something in the fall. And yeah, I think that the communication piece is really interesting. So that's something for us to build on and kind of talk to the teens about. I mean, like, when I think about that, I think TikToks or various things. Could we do that? So let's look at it.
I think you're right, Julie, too, for that. Like, for example, Maureen mentioned Lit. The only way my daughter found out about Lit is with her parent, like reading it. But was she really interested in it? She doesn't know until an actual parent, because social media, she's not on social media. She's not,
Yeah.
But no, you brought up a good point. Yeah.
good point. Okay. Anything else from that committee? Nope.
Nothing here.
Okay, moving on. Events subcommittee, the Luna Fest meeting. Luna Fest.
I don't think we need to report out from it.
Yeah, we already did that. Yeah.
You already did.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. D, setting subcommittee meetings. Setting the meetings. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So I think this is more a question around if we're not going to have our traditional August meeting, does it make sense to schedule subcommittee meetings between now and then? Or do we want to wait to schedule subcommittee meetings until our September meeting? I will share the list of subcommittees here for your consideration. And the only thing I would strongly recommend would be convening the Day in the Park and Derby subcommittee, because that is very timely. So waiting till September for that just would not be beneficial. So I'm hoping that we can convene that group sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm on that committee. So how do we do that? How do we set that date?
So that is Renee, Lisa, and Natalie. So if Lisa and Natalie, if you guys want to kind of throw out a date or two, we can connect with Renee to determine her availability.
What's the best week, Noreen, for this in July, usually like for staff?
Well, I mean, it's our busiest time of year, so whenever. But we have to post with 72 hours notice. So I would say the earliest opportunity would be next Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'll need to confirm with Jeff and Ricardo that they're available for whatever date you settle on.
I'm free next Tuesday and Wednesday after 3:00.
Oh, let me look. July. Next Tuesday. Yeah, I'm free both those days too.
Okay, so that's the 19th and the 20th. And after 3:00, does that work for you as well, Lisa?
Yep.
Okay, let me touch base with Jeff and Ricardo to confirm that they're available, and then we'll have Jovi send out the formal invitation.
Great. And yeah, if there's nothing else, I mean, the garden show is coming up, but I'll work with staff. Do we need to have a meeting for that?
We'll just set up a meeting between you and Sarah and Julie if she wants to jump into that coordination meeting.
Yeah. If you could set something up or like early August would probably be good. So
do you want to throw out a date?
Yeah, let me look. Julie, look at your calendar.
Okay.
How about the 9th, the Tuesday?
I have meetings that are all that week, like super intensive, but don't plan around me. Like you could have the meeting and then assign me stuff.
No. I was just throwing that out there. I could do it the week before, the first week of August.
Yeah, that's better. Or even end of July, or I could do that.
Okay. Well, no, I think first week of August. I don't want to get
Okay.
too far ahead. It's not that complicated.
Okay.
So what day is best for you?
Let's say
Because my week's totally open.
let's say, sorry, my calendar's being slow. How about August 1st or August 3rd? August 3rd is good. Pretty
Yeah,
open.
let's do the 3rd.
Okay.
August 3rd. And any time work better for you?
Could we say 3:00?
Yeah, 3:00 work.
Okay, again, I'll confirm with Sarah.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, I think if nothing's pressing, we should all look at these meetings that we have to plan for the next fall and just start thinking about how much work we need to do on each of these meetings and come to our September meeting armed with dates, and goals. Okay.
Yeah, I think the one thing is the teen meeting. If we do want to do something in the fall with the Daly City Youth Health Center, maybe we could meet earlier. And Noreen, the other thing that strikes me is like, because it is about teens, should we always have a teen representative in that meeting?
You could. I mean, I think it's definitely helpful.
I think so too. It just
Agreed.
feels silly not having teens at that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, not having teens in your family even. It's sort of like,
Yeah,
who are these
exactly.
people? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know the two we spoke with from Yak were fantastic. So like if they wouldn't mind, at least we could come back around. The timing's really nice because I have a meeting with the Daly City Youth Health Center soon. So I could get some even dates of things we could do.
Okay.
Great. So if you
Great.
guys can work that out, that would be wonderful. Okay, then I have the commissioners. Or we're not changing commissioners on these committees, are we?
No. That's just if any of the commissioners had anything to report.
Yep. Any reports from commissioners? No? Okay. How about staff? Anything from staff?
Just a couple of quick things we haven't quite touched yet. Summer camp is going really great. Our preschool summer camp's going wonderfully as well. That will wrap up shortly here. We have quite a few leaders in training in our summer camp programs. So that's nice to kind of help build the pipeline to employment for our rec leader staff. The kids were at Aqua Adventure for their field trip today. The pool is running swimmingly. all the puns tonight. Lessons are going great, knock on wood. So it's really nice to see all of our summer programs kind of back in full swing this year. We had the cornhole tournament a few weeks ago, which was nice. I think we only had 7 or so teams, but there was like 50 people that came out to just kind of be at the event and to watch and to participate as spectators. And so it was nice to kind of kick off the start of the summer with that. And the next one, as Nicole mentioned, is later this August. And we have Fall Club Rec registration open. It's still open. We are doing kind of a final call for our Volunteer of the Year nomination. So if anybody has neighbors that they want to nominate or residents that they want to nominate for that, please send me an email with your nomination. We anticipate our next activity guide coming out probably mid-August, and that will span September through December happenings. I wanted to put a plug out there for all of you to mark your calendars. So the San Mateo County Parks and Recreation Directors Group that I'm a part of is going to be facilitating a commissioner's workshop. I think we touched on this a little bit before, but we finally nailed down a date. It will be held October 15th in Burlingame from 9 to 1, and it will be an opportunity to kind of meet with your colleagues in other neighboring agencies and talk through kind of the challenges as commissioners and general protocol. And we have a few very knowledgeable speakers lined up. So Natalie can attest to, I think she attended our last one, which was, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's been a while. So we felt like the timing was right to do it again. I think most of our organizations have experienced an influx of newer commissioners. And so it seemed to be pretty valuable last time. And so we're bringing it back. So October 15th, and more information will come on that. We'll need to submit a registration for anybody who's going to be attending from our organization. So as we get closer, I will connect with you individually to determine whether or not you're able to attend. And then just upcoming events, we have the concerts through the end of July, and we have the Friends of Brisbane Library has a citywide yard sale on the 23rd in town, and our Brisbane Night at the Giants on August 12th. Tickets available for purchase. And I think that's it.
Wow, that's great. Sounds like a fun summer.
Totally.
Really fun. Okay, commission matters. Are there any written communications?
There aren't, but I do want to communicate my apologies to everyone for being so echoey earlier.
That's
Sorry,
not
everyone.
your fault. Did you ever figure it out?
I did. I had the YouTube video up on my browser too, so
Oh, that'll
mystery
do it.
solved. Sorry again.
No problem. And then the commission calendar, which we've all looked at pretty much, or have we? Shall we look over that?
Yeah, so if everybody's okay or amenable to the idea of skipping the August meeting consistent with kind of city council practice, we'll move forward with canceling that meeting, and then our next regularly scheduled meeting will be September 14th.
And we are going to plan a facilities meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
the facilities
Right.
tour. Yes.
Facilities tour. Okay, cool. Okay,
And
is there
send me your blackout dates if you haven't already. Thank you,
Right.
Frank and Tom. I saw yours come through.
Mom, you're so on it. Okay. And I guess it's time to adjourn. Shall we do that? It's 8:31 p.m. And I call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye.